It's it's literally the boy. Hello. Hello? Hi there. Default a 1 waving. Hi everyone. It's me, Chubby. I'm back. Hello. I thought I would go ahead and do another freaking podcast episode since it's been a whole long while. And I don't know. I guess talk about shit. Look, here's my water bottle. Fantastic. It's very good. But no. I do plan on talking about a little bit more than just my water bottle. I plan on talking about my kind of belief. Listen, I know. Let's not get into the whole religion kind of stuff, right? But we might cross that territory. This podcast episode will be mostly talking about my belief in nihilism, as well as other philosophical beliefs, theories, what would you call them, as well as those, and maybe some other stuff that might possibly be in connection to it. I guess this is like, I don't know, if the Christians or the Catholics or whoever the fuck had the holy wars and they had to go spread that shit, this is me spreading my shit all over the internet. But yeah, I'll just be talking about my personal encounters and beliefs with nihilism, as well as maybe if it even is nihilism. So feel free to kick back, listen, and maybe learn a little. A hole. So for me, my idea of nihilism, well, my social idea of nihilism is that basically nothing has meaning. Everything is meaningless. Nothing matters. That's it. Basically, nothing matters. We're all gonna die. Oh, but just scuba da bub. Which can be a little like for me, that's how the public opinion is. Once you hear someone is nihilistic, it's like, oh, so you hold no value in anything. So you're just gonna, like, I don't know, die one day and it all meant nothing. Great, fantastic life, dude. Fuck you. For me, it's a little bit different. Like, I do believe that a lot of stuff in life is meaningless at its very front, right? Like, I don't know. If I hold up this pin, sorry if you're not watching, right? This is just a pin. It's just a pin, right? How much value does it offer to me? It lets me write with it, right? I'm able to do stuff with it, and then it has purpose. It has meaning to me, right? But what about all the things out there that you don't really care about? When's the last time you ever heard about dragon fruit, huh? Are you ever like, this means a lot to me, right? No, of course not. Just think of something really wild, something that you haven't thought about in a long while, right? Maybe it's a memory from your childhood even, right? Maybe it's like a toy that you had and you're like, "Oh, man, that means a lot to me because I'm now remembering it." Where was that thought process like all these years, you know? I'm not saying like you have to have everything constantly. Everything you value in your life must be in your life right now, be of use, or it's garbage, right? I'm saying like a lot of things in the world don't mean jack diddly squat to you, right? Because you're not really experiencing it or you didn't experience it, right? Like, let's say hang gliding. Is anyone here that's listening, like, dude, I love hang gliding, dude. I've done my research into it. It's so cool. It's so this, right? No one cares about hang gliding, right? Like, it's something that could happen, but you're not really caring about it too much. That kind of belief transfers from uh, basically everything, you know? I think it's very much a disassociation. I don't know if that makes sense. And I don't know if I'm going off topic. I'm pretty sure I started this with like, see, my belief in nihilism is a bit different. And then I went on that whole tangent of, think of a memory, think of an item, think of this, right? There's a cat toy in the background that's like making sound and it's making me distracted. Sorry. Uh, but I think, let me raise up my little arm holders here so I can rest my hands on my gut. But for me, it's a very big disassociation. Like, you look at all the things around you, right? And of course, they hold meaning to you because you're actively, doing stuff with them or they're a part of your life. But for me, there's a big separation. I don't know if it's disassociation, but there's a big separation of like, wait a second. Imagine if I was someone else. Would any of this shit mean anything to them? Not really, right? And then you think of it on like a grander scale. And you think of like, well, wait, what if my life, what if someone was to look at my life? Would they even care? Probably not. Like, honestly, let me ask you this, right? The only reason why you see those people on like My 600 Pound Life or householders or anything like that, the only reason why you see those people is because they had enough of an interesting thing to show on TV for your fat fucking face to see, right? Right? Right. Imagine if they weren't, though. That's the big issue, right? You have to think. You're not the main character. That's basically what I'm trying to get at. You have to basically say, you know what? I'm not the main character. What's going on? You know? And I know. Listen, you're sitting there and you're like, dude, first off, you're not making a lot of sense. Second off, I don't know where you're going. And third off, I don't like what you're saying, right? That's all fine. But I'm going to continue. Maybe you'll start to see where I'm coming from if you don't already. But to continue explaining my side of it, it's very much like once you remove the value from something, you can assign your own value to it. Now, this doesn't really work. It's not like an automatic machine, right? Like, oh, well, this was not assigned a value, therefore it is unvalued. There we go, the end. Like, if you have a friendship or something like that, and you're like, I no longer want to be friends with these people, but I don't want it to hurt when I'm not friends with them anymore. I'm just going to put my value for them from a 1 to a 0. Boom. Instantly got over it, right? That's kind of where the like nihilism gets a little fucked, is that you can't really cheat the system like that. Just because you think everything is meaningless, eventually you come to a little thing called like your personal life. You kind of realize, oh shit, wait, I do have care and meaning for these people or these objects or any of this stuff. This is important to me, right? And I don't know. It gets a little tough there, I suppose. Again, from my point of view, it's very much like everything doesn't really have value, but you put value into it. And I know, again, it's like everyone's just sitting there and they're like, dude, that's how I live my life normally. Like, you're not saying anything different, right? But I guess it's a bit weird for me because I'm trying to. I'm like here explaining it. It's like if I explained how to breathe or something like that. It's like, well, first you like suck air in through your nostrils or your mouth, and you put it into your lungs. Isn't that crazy, guys? It's like, dude, what? That's what I do every day. What are you talking about? But I'm trying to explain like grander ideas here, okay? Basically, I'll A to B it real quick. For me, nihilism is that, I can accept that there's a lot of stuff in this world that I don't really give a flying fuck about, right? Fair enough. But I think it's because of that lack of, you know, anything has meaning that I'm able to put my own meaning onto those objects or morals, people in my life, right? But I did go ahead and ask the Gemini bot for some good questions, maybe about nihilism or anything like that. Here's the thing. Listen, again, if you're not liking the AI stuff, fair enough. But I'm gonna let you know right now, I'm a man who operates off of people asking me stuff, right? I don't do well bibble babbling the shit out of my mouth. It's more like I'm a little bit of a robot, okay? I may have lied, okay? I'm just a tiny, tiny little bit of a robot, okay? Um, I do need some amount of like, oh well, this is it, stuff like that. Uh, yeah, I know my camera went out. Give me a moment. Okay, here we are. I said, hey, I am doing a podcast episode surrounding the belief in nihilism. What are some other topics and similar topics I could also talk about? And it's given me quite a good list of things to just shit my mouth out of. Right? So, core nihilistic concepts. This is chapter 1. They would probably name it or something. I don't know. Existential nihilism. The belief that life has no inherent meaning or purpose. Now, see, I think that's what a lot of people uh, think that nihilism is. It's just like, you types of people, you don't have any value in your life. Congratulations, you live nothing but a meaningless fucking life, right? But I think that's just for, as it just said, the existential nihilist. That just they're like, can't deal with it, dude. Don't care. And here's the thing, I for me, I believe that's like a passing phase as well. I don't think anyone stays a existential nihilist for their entire life. I think there's just that where like everything seems so horrible or something that you say, you know what? Life has no purpose. Life has no meaning. I don't care what happens. It's all nothing. It's all bibble babble, garbage, bullshit, poo poo doo doo ass, right? But I don't think anyone can stay in that mindset because eventually you do develop some kind of feelings or some kind of care for something in the world. It could be an item, it could be a pet, it could be a person, right? Eventually you start to be like, you know what? Maybe life isn't as dull and as meaningless as, I first thought, right? I think this is just I think that is literally just a moment of like sadness or hatred or something like that. Something. It can't be permanent, you know? Um, for me, I don't really believe in that. Like, I don't know, partially, it's kind of tough because a lot of this stuff is very like, it's only giving like a brief amount of like, hey, this is what it is. Maybe if I go ahead and I Google existential nihilism, right? It'll tell me more. Existential nihilism is the philosophical theory that life has no objective meaning or purpose. The inherent meaningless, oh Jesus, meaninglessness of life is largely explored in the philosophical school of existential. My mouth, it's breaking. Existentialism, Jesus, where one can potentially create their own subjective meaning or purpose. Okay, well, see, now everything I said about it, I'm taking back because that is me. I don't think anything has true meaning. It's all just a matter of perspective. Like, I'm just saying. I see things in my world, it only matters to me, right? I like certain things that people don't, right? That's fine. You want to know why? Because I obviously have value for the things that I like. Uh, and when people show me stuff, maybe I'll like it, but most of the time it's like, why the fuck do I give a flying shit, dude? Unless they care about it. That's another thing I'd like to talk about, maybe, is that, you know, what is it called when someone shows you something that they like, but you don't really give a flying fuck about, but you like it because they like it, right? Is that just called being fake? Or is that just like, you're trying your best to be supportive? It's like you have a girlfriend or wife, and they're like, oh, look at this drama that's happening right now. And you're like, oh, wow, that's drama. You don't really care, right? But yes, that's kind of weird. That's kind of what I believe in, you know? It's like, whatever. Existentialism versus nihilism. So I guess maybe there's a bit of a difference. I don't know. Next up, we have moral nihilism, the belief that there are no objective moral values, which I deeply believe. I deeply, deeply, deeply believe in this. That one, it's not so up in the air, it's not like, oh, well, maybe this has this. No, I truly, deeply believe in moral nihilism. Well, first, let me Google it and read it, and maybe, maybe it'll say something like, moral nihilism is if you're a pussy. Moral nihilism is the idea that morality does not exist and that nothing is morally right or wrong. It's a meta ethical view that rejects the possibility of absolute moral values and instead suggests that good and evil are nebulous. Nihilists deny the meaning of life, moral values, principles, and order in the universe. They also believe that no moral choices are preferable to others. Because if life doesn't have intrinsic meaning, then how can actions be called right or wrong? That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, dude. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. I'm gonna be honest. This podcast probably gonna do bad because instead of adding everything, right? It's not like I'm starting with fucking white bread and I'm like, what if we put bologna on there? And then we put mustard, and then we put like lettuce, right? Like, that's usually what you do. You're like, I wonder what this would be, right? This episode, it's kind of like taking everything off the fucking bologna sandwich. Like, white bread, nothing matters. But I guess this is kind of me just explaining like how I see it, like I didn't really put this as a me type of thing, it's not like, nihilism, that's me, that's Justy, right? It was more of like, eventually I was like, that does kind of sound like me, this is kind of like the LGBTQ stuff where it's like, you know what, I do sound a little bisexual, I'm finding one of my words, I'm finding that I'm very nihilistic. But to what extent, I guess we'll be finding out, won't we? We already have found out that existential nihilism kinda applies to me, but I don't know. Even then, it's like I suppose for me it was kind of generalizing stuff a little too much. I don't know, but for moral nihilism, I fully and wholeheartedly agree with that. Um, there is no real right or wrong. It's just a matter of perspective. Oh, it's a matter of perspective. Wow. Um, I don't know. It's kind of like I guess it's really just belief, you know. Like I was gonna say, it's like tradition, it's like belief, but I think yeah, it literally was like nihilism is where you don't believe in principles, order, you know. So we'll probably get to those, but um, I don't know. You have to have belief in what you think is right or wrong in the world, and you see, I don't want to get off track, but I do want to also say that's the part where I was fucking losing everything at the beginning of this podcast. Instead of just talking about, like, oh yeah, this is why everything doesn't have value, blah, 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 I forgot to also add on the part where you create your own meaning from everything. I know I added like a little bit of that, but I should have really focused in. Um, it's really all about creating your own value in things. And that's what I mean by, you know, there is no such thing as morally good or morally bad. There are things that are agreed upon by society as a whole, I would say. Like, obviously, we know that kicking a dog is morally wrong. Why? Because if we were kicked, it would fucking hurt. So why would you kick a dog, right? The dog probably hurts, right? But some people, and it's people who society deems as being incorrect, being bad people, they like to kick dogs. Now, I don't know why they like to do it, but can you morally say that's good or bad? From your perspective, you can probably say, yeah, that is bad. No fucking duh, dipshit. Um, and again, there is no right or wrong. Yeah. God damn it, I'm starting to sound like a hippie or something like that. Anyways, uh, yeah, that is your matter of opinion. That is how you believe, right? Um, that is how it do. Oh, sorry. I'm just sitting here and I'm thinking of how stupid this is. Why'd I do this? Why'd I be like, let me explain nihilism? Well, I know what the worst part is. I know I'm gonna get made fun of for all this shit. Like it's like, remember you did the podcast with the nihilism, huh? Remember that? What are you, a fucking idiot? But see, it shouldn't really bother me because it would be up to me to place value on your opinion. I need to just stop sounding like I'm a fucking ASMR teacher or something like that. Um yeah, morally speaking, uh truly there is no right or wrong. It's what you believe, and what you believe is probably influenced by the people that you grew up with, and the people who you grew up with was probably influenced by the people they grew up with, and as well as the external factors of society as a whole. That's why we have laws and such. Laws tell us, hey, everyone kind of took a vote, and we decided rape isn't pretty cool, dude. Uh, you know, I guess what I'm trying to do here, right? I don't think a lot of people are going to like it, which is fair enough, but it's to see the other side of it, right? And again, it's not saying that it's correct or that it's right or that, like, why don't you see it from their side? They matter too, right? It's more of like, see it from their side, see why they would want to do something like that or why they believe in that, you know? Um, I had this discussion. I'm sorry to go off track from the talk of whether things are right or wrong, but I will go ahead and interject my own personal story. When I was driving home with my mom one night when she was giving me a ride back home and all that, we got into this discussion over this, which is that um, there is a difference between understanding and agreeing, right? Like, if a man, if a husband kills his wife, right? It's, you can understand why he may have done it, but you can also say I don't agree with it, right? I'm not saying uh, that you have to be up in like pitchforks and torches and shit like that and be like, I agree with this person and their bad choice, right? But you can at least understand their perspective of it. Um, Me personally, right? I deeply believe that uh, if we were able to do that more often, maybe there would have been a little bit more improvement in the world nowadays. Not so much as like, oh, everyone should see everyone else's perspective, but seeing why people do things or why people um, make decisions like that, I think it helps to grow, right? I don't know, it's like knowledge, right? Knowledge. Knowledge is free, you know? Why wouldn't you want more knowledge? Why wouldn't you want to be able to understand their perspective so that way you could possibly deal with that situation in the future, right? Um, in fact, I think that's why a good amount of people do that. Like, I'm not saying everyone does it, but um, for me, I know that like when it comes to law, right? I think a lot of officers maybe understand it, right? Which is why they're able to look for the telltale signs, right? Like, it's kind of like if I stole something from maybe the Dollar Tree or something like that, and I get dragged in by the police. They're like, oh, you know, you're a little fellow and you like this place. I can understand that. So why don't you tell me why you did it, right? And I could be like, oh, this or that. Um, oh, I really love the Dollar Tree. I needed to do another Dollar Tree review or something like that. And they understand my perspective when I explain it. Um, and therefore they're able to uh, take in that and be like, okay, well, if anyone in the future ever has an issue or ever tries to do this stuff, we now know why they might do it, right? Um, and the story I provided doesn't really like give a whole lot, but they could be like, oh, well, I'm poor, right? I'm sure everyone, not everyone, but a good majority of most people have experienced what it's like to be poor and to steal something because of it. Um, yeah. So that would lead to uh I guess that would lead to more law enforcement or something to be around uh poor places, to make sure they didn't steal as much. I don't know, I'm just saying, like, makes sense, right? Like, that's what we call a statistic at that point, and you learn from it, right? I guess you don't really need understanding if there is the actual action itself. I guess understanding is more of like, um, you know, just on a moral level. You know, it's like you can just understand it. You don't really agree with it, but morally, it like boosts yourself. It boosts yourself up or something. I don't know. Anyways, let's continue on. Okay, uh, we got a new one. Epistemic nihilism, the belief that there is no objective truth. I don't know what the fuck that means. Let me go ahead and Google that one, shall we? There's a lot of nihilism here. Epistemological nihilism is a form of philosophical skepticism, according to which knowledge does not exist, or if it does exist, it is unattainable for human beings. What? What the fuck you talking about, dude? Shut the fuck up. POV, you're most listeners right now. Shut the fuck up, dude. See what the Gemini said about it. Epistemic nihilism is a philosophical position that rejects the existence of epistemic facts and the possibility of knowledge and truth. It's a type of philosophical skepticism that's associated with postmodern anti-foundationalism. Epistemic nihilism is made up of three claims: epistemic realist speech act thesis. Some epistemic discourse is ooh, Jesus. Ooh, my mouth. Esoteric. Sorry, I was struggling there. Alethic thesis. If the content of a predicative epistemic claim is true, then it is true in the realist sense. Ontic thesis. There are any particular epistemic facts, then they are as the realist says, and there are no such facts. What the fuck are you talking about? Epistemic nihilism is unpopular in contemporary philosophy and is different from the epistemological fallibilism, which holds that all knowledge is uncertain. See, now that I can believe in, right? Epistemic nihilism can also be seen as a worldview that rejects the intrinsic value of truth and the idea that truth is necessary to achieve one's goal. Some argue that epistemic nihilism can threaten liberal democratic institutions by undermining the idea of good faith engagement and encouraging undemocratic actions. What's that got to do with anything, dude? That's kind of weird. I don't know. That kind of sounds a little fucked. Like the second thing it was talking about the what is it? Let me see if I can find it. Epistemological fallibilism, which holds that all knowledge is uncertain. That one I can agree with. For me, I do believe that we only know what we have now, right? Again, I'm gonna say it right now. I think microwaves, they're gonna be like in 100 years, be like, you people were microwaving shit. Are you kidding me, dude? What the fuck's wrong with you people? Right? It's just, listen, you think they were like, yeah, we're fucking drinking lead. We got lead pipes. We got lead everything, dude. Let's get it rolling. Right? You think they were like, oh, we're fucking idiots. No, of course not. They were like, we're top of the world right now, dude. Everything's going good. It's only until like future scientist or fucking whoever discovered it, you know, that wasn't until like the future where people were like, dude, they were getting lead poisoning. Those fucking people are idiots, dude. Right? And I'm just saying, like, the same thing's gonna happen to us. I don't know what it's gonna be. Me, again, my choice pick is probably microwave. Okay, because I feel like microwave, it's like, you got radiation in your kitchen, baby. Hell yeah. You don't think some of that got in your food? Shut the fuck up. Right? I guess we kind of already are seeing a little bit of something like that. I don't know exactly how long microplastics has been a concept, but that's like a big thing right now. It's like, oh, you idiots, what you thought plastic bags and plastic this, plastic all the shit, right? Oh, you thought it was just like littering the ocean? Guess what? It's microscopic and it's in your bloodstream, stupid bitch, right? And you're like, what the fuck? This is bullshit. This stuff's been safe for like years, right? But that's what I mean is that a lot of stuff we think at the time is like really good, like it is sound. in the future, it's like, you're stupid. You're dumb. So I do believe in that second one, the epistemological fallibilism, which holds that all knowledge is uncertain. The epistemic nihilism, though, nah, dude, that sucks. You suck, dude. No wonder it's like, this is unpopular, by the way. Yeah, no fucking duh. That's like, I don't know. I guess that's like a good counterpoint to my whole thing of like morality is only your perspective. You know, it's up to you whether something is horrendous or not. There are agreed upon terms, right? Like laws that everyone agrees is like, morally, that's a bad thing to do, right? But when it comes to like, if I drop an apple and it hits the ground, that's gravity, baby, right? You can't be like, well, what if I told you it wasn't? What if I told you, oh, I don't know, all knowledge and truth is nothing, right? It's like, I don't know, that's just such a weird thing, isn't it? I feel like that could even be, what is it? What's the word that I'm looking for? It's when contradiction, dude. I think that's a contradiction, isn't it? That's like if I came up to you and I said, this sentence is false, right? It's like, what? What do you mean? It both can and cannot be. What do you mean? Because when you're saying something like, what was it? Philosophical position that rejects the existence of epistemic facts and the possibility of knowledge and truth. Yeah, I don't know what epistemic facts are. Maybe I should go ahead and do a quick Google of that and see what the fucking epistemic fact is. Epistemic fact. Epistemic facts are facts that can be reduced to descriptive facts, such as facts about evidence and probability. Epistemic facts can also be thought of as a relation between a knower and a known proposition. For example, Ravi knows that kangaroos hop is a propositional knowledge that can be expressed as a declarative sentence using a that clause. In this case, the relation is between Ravi and the proposition kangaroos hop. What? Sorry, I'm still reading a little bit. Epistemic possibility, something that may be true given certain epistemic constraints. For example, given what we know about the weather, it might rain tomorrow. Epistemic necessity, something that must be true given certain epistemic constraints. Dude, what is this? Epistemic? When did this come about? Epistemic reason, having a reason to believe something for which the evidence is compelling. What's that even mean? So I guess we're not going to touch on that. Okay, that's like someone else is doing a like within the booty hole or something, and they're like they're talking about that instead of epistemic nihilism. But I guess it's just like epistemic is or an epistemic fact is like the general knowledge or something like that. It is what people apply, right? But I totally do not agree with that. That's a bullshit. I don't know about you, but that's just garbage, right? If you're an epistemic nihilist, shut the fuck up. Go read a book or something. You have schizophrenia. It's like saying like the sky's made up or some shit. Anyways, we are now on to chapter 2. Related philosophical concepts. So I think this is where it's gonna maybe open up a little bit. So that way there might be more discussion. Who knows? If you're enjoying the podcast so far, make sure to leave a like, favorite, and subscribe. And maybe comment what your favorite part has been so far. All right. We are on to the next one. We have absurdism, the belief that life is inherently meaningless, but we can find purpose through personal choices and actions. See, now that sounds like me to a T, right? You do your own stuff, right? You live life and you make it yours. You can make it as shit as you want. Of course, there's external factors, right? You can't just be like, well, I chose to be a good guy today. Why did I get shit on, right? I'm supposed to be the good guy. I'm supposed to get the good, right? All right. Let's see. Oh, wait. Absurdism. Here we go. Absurdism versus nihilism. Here we go. All right, this is what it came up with. Absurdism, the belief that the universe is irrational and meaningless, and that humans are unable to find meaning because it doesn't exist. Absurdists believe that humans should rebel against the absurdity of life by finding meaning between life and death. Okay, wait, you're bringing me back. Absurdism also includes the idea that things seem to matter to us even though they don't, and that this impression can't be shaken. Absurdism is also a genre of fiction that explores how people react when they feel life has no meaning. Writers often use absurdism to describe a world that's been abandoned by a higher power or where people are alienated from society. So, this might be a coming of age moment because I might be an absurdist rather than a nihilist. I don't know, that kind of sounds like me. I don't really believe in rebelling. I don't know what the fuck that's about. Let me reread that. Absurdists believe that humans should rebel against the absurdity of life by finding meaning between life and death. I don't know, it sounds too theatrical for me. That sounds like the sugar spice of life. You know, it's like, yeah, and absurdists believe that you should rebel and that you should go and find something. Oh, there's a cat in the background. Hello, Ming Ming. Sorry, that's my cat right there. His little black tortoise shell cat. See that cat? We'll do an example here. This cat means nothing to the world, right? This cat is just another mouth to feed. The only meaning that this cat has is to me and probably to the people who sell litter and cat food, right? But that's the thing, is that even though this cat doesn't mean shit to any of you people, right? The cat means a lot to me. I love that cat, right? It's acknowledging that this cat ain't gonna do nothing, right? This cat ain't gonna fucking start a new universe or some shit, right? This cat's just gonna sit there, he's gonna like go to sleep or some shit. But that makes me happy because I love that cat. That's what it means to be me. I don't even know what I am anymore. Nihilist or an absurdist. But all I know is that life doesn't really have any value or meaning to it. You make your own. Let's read the second thing. Nihilism, the belief that there is no objective meaning and that traditional morals, ideas, and beliefs have no value. Nihilism can also include the belief that a society's political and social institutions are so bad they should be destroyed. What the fuck? For example, a nihilist might negate a widely accepted piece of morality because they believe no truly moral choices exist. Again, it's like both of those are 90% of the way there. Then it just says one thing, and I'm like, ugh. One has too much passion for creating, and one has too much passion for destroying. I need to like make the absurdist or something like that. The nihilist, right? And boom, there's my new thought. There's my new philosophical. It is the white bread of not caring. um, I don't know about absurdism. It kind of sounds like me, but I don't know. The whole like rebelling stuff or well, mission can't be shaken. Absurdism is also a genre of fiction that explores how people react when they feel life has no meaning. Writers often use absurdism to describe a world that's been abandoned by a higher power or where people are alienated from society. I don't know. That's a tough one. A tough one for, but I guess we'll go on to the next category. Or not next category. Well, yes, next category, not next chapter. Whatever, you know what I mean. We have pessimism. Ooh, now this is a good one. The belief that life is inherently negative and suffering. Ooh, 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 baby. Now this is what people call me all the time. Oh man. Pessimism versus nihilism. Pessimism and nihilism are both concerned with the conditions under which we make normative claims in a world that is inherently meaningless. Pessimism is a negative outlook on life, while nihilism is a belief that life has no inherent meaning or value. That's what I'm talking about, baby. That's me. Pessimism is often described as a glass half empty point of view, while nihilism is about hiding from despair rather than dwelling on it. See, and then now it's lost me again. Like, why you gotta say something fruity like that, dude? Just be like, the glass is full of water. Nihilism is there's water in the cup. How does that make you feel? Pessimism is a worldview or attitude that presumes that nothing good can or will happen. It's a distrust of potential success and the feeling that existence is negative and full of misery. Pessimists may believe that it would be better if people never existed in the first place. That's disgusting. I hate that. I truly duly hate that. No, that's gross. I don't know. Like, part of me sometimes when I get down, I can feel pessimistic, right? I can be like, oh well, you know, whatever. Shit happens. No fucking you know. Life is just kind of shit poop ass, right? But that's only when I'm in like a down mood, right? But to ever say like, I don't know. I don't agree with that at all. I have a little bit of a issue with it in the way of like, here's my theory. If you hate life so much, why don't you just fucking die? Not like suicide or anything like that, but why don't you just like not exist anymore then? Congratulations. There you go. There's your fucking preferred life. Nothing, right? For me, like, again, it's all a matter of perspective. It's all a matter of perspective. Put that on a t-shirt. People probably see nihilistic people. They're like, wow. And again, this is my third time creating a straw man of sorts, or a boogeyman, I guess. But people probably see nihilist and they're like, you're such a little pathetic piece of shit. You hold no value for the world. I hate you. Why don't you get a life, bozo? Right? But while you're spitting on us, on me, I'm spitting on pessimists. Because they are literally they are the worst, I would say. Me personally, they are the worst. Could you imagine being so self-hating and so negative towards life that you believe that nothing should have ever existed, that everything is just meaningless? Shut up. Really? That's your whole fucking outlook? Shut up, dude. And the thing about it, right? Usually I might be like, oh, well, we should probably help these people. We should teach them how life is wonderful, right? But the thing is, I'm a nihilist. I don't think life is wonderful. It's life. It's how you make it, right? And if you're going to make it piss ass, of course it's going to be piss ass. Little pessimist bitch. Here's the thing. I think only pessimists exist in people who have horrible lives. That's me personally. I feel like if you're fucking rich, maybe it's like a horseshoe, right? The very lowest of the low and the very highest of the high might believe in this, right? Because it's either you have nothing in life, you are on the edge of death, right? You have nothing. Surely life is always negative, and it's always made to be negative. And then there's the flip side, which is you have everything in life. You have anything you could ever want, and it's just so pointless, so negative, you know. But my question to them, I guess, is like, why? Why even have that outlook upon life? You know, I'd like to learn, if possible. A good jubby saying is that nothing, you know, there's always something that comes from something else, right? Put that on a t-shirt. I don't think people become pessimistic for no good reason. I think something happens to them where they are like that. As I said, it's either like you're too poor or you have everything in the world, so you become pessimistic, but nothing just comes from nothing, right? It's the, what is it? It's the reverse of like a nihilistic. Um, Nihilism is that there are things, but then we take it down to zero and we say nothing matters. This is more of the reverse of like you're saying nothing matters, but that comes from something, doesn't it? Right? I hope I didn't just like committed suicide on my on my thought process of like nihilism, you know. Oh, Justy, you don't believe in like the value of anything, do you? No. Well, that must come from something, doesn't it, Justy? Yeah. I guess if I was to defend my point of view when it comes to nihilism, it's that what are you gonna do? It's my opinion versus your opinion, right? I'm just saying. that's that's basically all I could do, okay? Because it kind of is true. Yeah. I guess that's how it is for pessimists as well. As much as I'd like for them to understand that life has some meaning to it, um, it's not like I could ever change it unless they wanted it to change. Like that's what I've also faced when it comes to religion. Well, it's like as much as I would like for some religious people to um maybe see beyond their religion, you know, not have so many constraints put upon them to enjoy life to the fullest of what they see fit. You know, they're not going to change their mind unless they want to. Big thing. But we'll move on to the next. Right. Determinism, the belief that all events are predetermined and that free will is an illusion. Disgusting. Again, it's so disgusting. I hate this. Determinism is just, it's religion. Congratulations, you got religion, dude. There you go. Like, don't know what to tell you. That's literally what it is. Let me go look. Determinism, the doctrine that all events, including human action, are ultimately determined by causes external to the will. Some philosophers have taken determinism to imply that individual human beings have no free will and cannot be held morally responsible for their actions. Hey, welcome to religion, everybody. Bada bing, bada boom. Right? determinism sounds stupid, and I hate it. Just like pessimism. Actually, you know what? Pessimism, you can go take a seat over there because I'm fucking I hate determinism, right? Determinism is like the opposite, not the opposite. I don't know. Determinism is like pessimism but on crack. You know? It is the not only is it like I guess determinism is like it could be seen as a positive thing. It could be like, I'm determined for the stars. I'm determined to do good. I'm determined to build this whole hospital, something like that, right? It is beyond my control. I must do it, right? But there are also, and what I've seen so far, many examples, negative determinism, which is that you are stuck to something because you were fated to be that way. And I hate it so fucking much. I hate it so much. I'm glad Google Gemini brought it up because I truly dislike this thought process. To say that you are determined to do anything makes me sick. To even suggest that there is no amount of choice in your life makes me disgusted. There's something so defeatist about it. It's just like, I give up. I give up. I'm gonna have to do what I have to do. Oh, right. It's like, no. No, you literally gave up. You don't want to try anymore. You weren't in it for the long run. You're just not willing to put in the effort. You're just a fucking bum. You're lazy. That's how I see it. You know? Apologies to anyone who does believe in determinism, but I'm going to deter you away from this video. I don't believe in your belief. I find it hard why you would believe in this, because for me, it just seems like shackles, right? I I think maybe that's like a core belief of mine, is to just be unshackled, but not to the point where you're all the way like going crazy, bouncing off the walls, right? I think there is some restraint that is needed in life, but to say that you are restrained fully makes me sick, right? Unless you are a slave, right? Shut the fuck up. Even then, like, if I was a slave, I could probably decide when to piss myself. That's a choice. How you gonna say there's no choice? I'm choosing to breathe right now. How you gonna say that's not a choice? Stupid bitch. I'm just saying. It makes me so mad to deal with determinism. Like, at least with pessimist, it's like, okay, you see the world as negative, that's fine. At least you have the free will of like what kind of fresh hell you choose, right? Determinist is like, I'm on the mine cart, I'm going one way, it's not gonna stop. That's it. That's it. It's going this way. That's it. You know? There's no adjustment. There's no ability to change. Maybe that's the disgusting part to me, is that there's no change to it. Oh, sorry. I was seeing which cat was underneath me. My other cat, Zeke, is sitting right next to me. Zeke, are you a determinist? He says, huh? um, but yeah, I just don't like determinist. It's okay, I guess, if it's like doing for something good, but even at that point, um, you know, doing something too good for too long or too much, it can wear you down. I think there should be breaks in life where you don't do good, right? It's only right that you have those moments where you are able to uh, do something bad. You know? And again, this is morally just like what's good or bad, right? Um, if drinking a soda is bad to you, maybe you should do it sometime. That's me summoning up determinism. There you go. On to the next one. I already explained it, right? Um, right. Last one of the related philosophical concepts. Solipsism, the belief that only one's own mind is real. So this one is kind of like the special kid of the group. And it's kind of cool because I don't know, it's like it's like if someone has schizophrenia, you don't know them, but you get to witness them. Like, that's actually kind of cool, right? You wouldn't want to be anywhere near this, right? Yourself, me personally. But it's at least cool to look at, to understand why these people think like this. Let's see. Solipsism, the view or theory that the self is all that can be known to exist. Now that is interesting, is it not? To think that you are the only person that you can be assured is truly real. Now, I know, okay, I bitched about the whole, what was it? Let me go see. I'm looking for the exact name of it. Epistemic nihilism. I know I bitched about that because they're like, well, you can't really be true, sure of any truths in the world. Blah blah blah. Right. But at least solipsism, um solipsism, sorry. Solipsism is actually, it's just kind of funny. It's just like, you really are the center of the universe, huh? And they're like, you know, they're like, yeah, you don't really matter. I don't really care. I'm the only thing that can be real, right? Because I'm sure everyone kind of thinks this to some degree. If you're sitting back and you're having to think about something for a long time, maybe this comes up and you're like, how can I be sure any of these other motherfuckers are real? How can I be sure I'm not the main character? um, yeah, yeah. Sorry, I'm just reading some of these memes that people have made for this. This is about, try to read this one little fucking thing. An age-old problem in philosophy, solipsism. Oh, listen, I don't care how it's said. Refers to the terrifying possibility that you are the only being that actually exists, that everyone else is a figment of your imagination. Most famous version, uh, Descartes' doubt. So I guess that's like books or something. Only thing I can be sure of that is that I exist. Everything else is open to doubt. So yeah, that's like actual schizophrenia territory. Like again, it's interesting to look at and think about, but at the same point, it's like, what are you, stupid? You know? That's at least how I see it. It's just like I guess it's very egotistical, but it's not I guess the point where I'm like, oh, that's kind of cute, is that it's the latter part. It's not just like you know, I'm the only one who can exist. It's that it's like, everyone else doesn't exist, or you know, they're made up or something like that. Not made up, but there's no way I can possibly prove that they are real. It's just funny to me. Kind of cute. I don't know. All right, we're on to a new chapter, everyone. Practical implications of nihilism. Whoa. The problem of evil. How can we reconcile the existence of evil with a benevolent God? What the fuck does that even mean, dude? How can we reconcile the existence of evil with a benevolent God? Well, I guess you would have to first believe, right? I will take my position on the spot of someone who believes but is also nihilistic. Um try my hardest. So I guess how can we reconcile the existence of evil with a benevolent God? Again, it's such a short, like, little answer though, or a short little question, uh, and I don't want to be doing any answers that are ambiguous, right? But I guess it's very much like how would I get here in this position? How would I be able to believe in God while also being nihilistic? That sort of way of like not believing anything has value unless you give it value. Which I guess um we have the age old question of, what came first, the belief or the believer, right? Um, is God not something that you fuel yourself rather than being an actual person, right? I know I just blew some minds out there. Oogity boogity, right? But that is a good question for me, at least. It's like, um, in a world where you are nihilistic and you assign your own belief, your own value into things, uh, if you believe in God, does that not mean that God is given value because you give him value, right? It's not so much because he already exists, it is because you believe in that existence. You believe it, therefore it happens, therefore it holds value in your life. Um, maybe, you know what? I'm gonna search this question up just in case. I know it's like my kind of opinion upon it. Yeah. Ah, so someone else had a similar question of how can we reconcile the concept of an all-powerful and benevolent God with the existence of evil in the world? Um, someone said that what you can do is simply realize it, right? And I guess that's a big thing, is that you just realize what you personally consider evil. You know, you consider it, and I don't know. Let me see what else. I'm checking this out. I just wanted to see. So I guess I don't know. You have to. It's kind of like if I push over your coffee cup, right? It's on the floor. You're like, "Hey, dude, you just did that," and I was like, "Huh? What? What do you mean?" Right? And you're like, "You just knocked my fucking coffee cup on the ground. What are you, a savage?" Right? I'm like, "Huh? What? What do you mean by that?" Right? I just don't acknowledge the coffee cup. Eventually, you're gonna get pissed off and you're gonna like be like, "Dude, hello? Are you blind? Hello? Dot dot dot. Uh, there's a coffee cup on the ground. It was mine. You pushed it over with your fat fucking arm. Hello? You gonna say anything about it?" Right? I'm like, "Why are you getting so angry at me? What did I do?" Right? Eventually, you just get really fucking mad at that person and you want to beat them up. Um, but if instead, let's replay the scenario, right? Um, you're like, you're just sitting there, your little coffee cup, and I knock it over, it goes on the ground, right? And you're like, "Oh, hey, you just knocked my coffee cup on the ground, dude," right? And I'm like, "Oh shit, dude, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do that. I apologize. I'm a klutz. Please forgive me," right? Then you understand that I understand that I did something wrong, right? Therefore, it cools your engine, and you're like, "Oh, okay. You know what? You're not so bad. You understood you did wrong. Me understand. Good." Right? And I think that's what the question is asking. I don't know. I'm kind of stupid. Anyways, on to the next one. The meaning of life. Can we find meaning in a meaningless universe? I love this question. This is a very, very good one. So, meaning comes from yourself. Yep, I did it. I said it. I'm going to keep on saying it. Meaning comes from yourself. I don't know. Again, I feel insulting because I'm going to explain this and it's just going to sound like, dude, I already do that every day. Shut the fuck up, right? But I just I don't know. I like talking about it. Because for me, I didn't know. You know, I for me it was just like, yeah, whatever. Life is life, whatever. But this whole like, you know, assigning value to stuff in your life, you know, giving meaning to it. It's what basically stopped me from being like a depressed little bitch, you know, instead of being like, oh, you know, I guess life is meaningless. I finally realized that it clicked in my head that it's whatever I find meaning in, you know, whatever entertains me, whatever makes me happy. But I guess, and I'd like to get into it further, but I don't know if I can right now. Um, I like the idea of the what after, you know. Congratulations, you can assign meaning uh, in your world. But what happens when you run out of things to assign meaning to? That's an interesting theory or an idea. Um, I don't know. It's kind of like, you know, again with my cat. My cat Momo right there. She actually did fall asleep. What if she died, right? And she was like the only thing I cared about. There goes my meaning, right? In a meaningless universe. So what then? You know? What do I do then? Do I assign it to something else? What if that doesn't hold as much meaning to me as my cat? And maybe that's why some people are still like depressed or sad about stuff, is that even though they know they have the power to assign meaning to things in their life, it doesn't hold as much value as they wish it did. There's nothing that truly inspires them to be like, this is something that I can find joy in, right? So, I don't know. But yeah, basically, you assign meaning to your world, right? That's how we get interest. There are people who like dogs more than cats. There are people who like guitar over drums or something. There are people who like a certain game over a different game, right? Hello, Z. Uh, the main idea behind it, right, is that everyone. You guys ever play this game? This game was called Little Big Planet. Little Big Planet. Everyone had their own little world, and they could do whatever they wanted in that world, and it was their own little thing they could do. Or like a Facebook page. There's pictures on there that you like to upload or that you like to see, right? Maybe some pictures people other than you like to see as well. Um, but the fact is that you're making it for yourself. You're not doing it for anyone else. Maybe you're doing it for like attention, but that attention is because you want that, right? That's what I mean. That basically anything you do, it's for you, right? I and again, that's why I think it's very much like, yeah, no duh, I do this every day, dude. Like when you say a joke, you're not saying it because it's like, ah, hell yeah, dude, this has no value to me, right? You're doing it because uh you want to see a reaction. You want to see what other people think of that joke, and if they're like, "Oh, that's so freaking hilarious, dude," you know, their enjoyment of it is your enjoyment. And that's why I say there's no like truly selfless act unless you hold no value to it. If you do something for someone, you're not doing it necessarily just for them. You're doing it for yourself as well. You know, you're doing it because helping someone else makes you feel good. It makes you feel uh, like something matters, right? Uh, yeah, that's basically how it is. The world is made of things that matter to you. There you go. Sorry, I kind of bibble babbled right there, but it's whatever. Um, let's see. The value of human life. Is human life inherently valuable, or is it just a matter of perspective? Hey, it said the line. It said the fucking line, dude. Is it a matter of perspective? And yes, it is. Is my life more valuable to you than your girlfriend? Is my life more valuable to you than your dog? Doubt it, right? I'm just saying. Um, is my mom more important than your mom? Absolutely not, right? That's because, from your perspective, the people around you hold more value than people you don't know or barely know, right? Hell, maybe there's some people in your life that you're like, you know what? Justy is better than those people. I would definitely say his life is more valuable than these other people, right? We assign value to people, we assign value to objects, we assign value to uh, cats, things, concepts. We assign value to everything in our life, right? Like me right now, I'm talking about nihilism and shit like that because I like it. It's an interesting concept. It makes me intrigued. Um, it just makes me interested in it, and I finally placed it on such high value that the value that it has for me made me want to talk about it on a podcast episode versus the value of not talking about it, you know? The value of talking about something else or something. Um, yeah, let's see. The nature of morality. How can we justify moral beliefs in a nihilistic worldview? Matter perspective. Again, I'm kind of repeating myself at this point, but again, moral beliefs are simply your perspective upon it. Again, those are influenced by externals, such as people who you grew up with, as well as society itself, also influencing you, either in a positive, as in you agree with them, or a negative, as in you disagree with them. Uh, it usually shapes it. There's a reason why there's such a thing as rebels in this world. It's because they saw the popular trend, or they saw where things were going, and they said, I'm going to go the opposite direction, right? Not only it could be better, it could be worse, right? It's all a matter of how they see it. Some people, here's a touchy topic. Let's go with abortion, right? um Morality with that. Some people view it as immoral because you're killing a child, uh or something along the lines of that. Some people view it as moral because you are um it's your body, and therefore anything growing in it is also yours, even if it's a child. um Again, it's just where you stand on it. I think that's the big thing. People don't see the other side of it. It makes me sad because I think a lot of issues maybe not resolved, but I think a lot of them would at least be more um what is it? It'd be more interesting. It'd be much more thought provoking rather than you bad, me good. Me good, you bad, right? It'd be more like, I can kind of see your perspective upon it, but The problem is that uh don't agree with you. Here's the reason why. Here's all these issues that I'm having with this. And go ahead and please respond and let me know if you know, how you could explain some of these things to me. You know, and I will be more than happy to share why I, you know, what you might have an interest or disagreements with me and my belief in this. You know, that's how it should kind of be. I don't know. I don't want to be one of those people that's like, "And this is how the world should be," because how the world is isn't what people want, or it's not what it is, right? The world is meaningless. People make their own meaning out of it. The end. It's not Candyland. Sorry. But yeah, that's basically morality. Um, Historical figures and nihilism. I don't really care. Here's a just the value. I don't really give a flying fuck about history. Okay, I don't. Unless it's like a cool fact. Like, do you know this person did a flip? I don't give a flip. Okay. I just don't give a flying shit about it. Okay. The last chapter. Contemporary perspectives on nihilism in popular culture. How is nihilism portrayed in movies, TV shows, and music? So, from the very beginning of this podcast, I said, here's the societal view of it. And I guess this would be it. Again, to repeat that section, nihilism is essentially viewed as like you hate the world or you're just not interested in it. Maybe you're suicidal as well because you hold no value in the world. Um, you know, you just see everything as meaningless. So I guess you hate everything. I guess you hate everyone, right? Uh, that's not really how it is. And it's a bit of like flavors. You know, I'm not gonna be like, you should know. Like again, I feel like I'm in an LGBTQ type of test or something like that. I'm figuring out like, oh, I'm trans and I'm polymorph. You know, shit like that. Uh, I'm not gonna expect people to be like, so you're a positive nihilist. You're someone. You're maybe an out. What was it? An absurdist or something like that. Me understand. Good now. But it's kind of sad that the perspective is seen as that, where it's just like, oh, you have no value on anything. I guess you must be depressed. I guess you must just want to die. Guess you thought everyone should just be in the grave. You know, maybe the world would be better if nothing was around. You know, that's at least how I've seen it. It's never like, I don't know. I guess it's that, or maybe it's the hippie side of it, which I guess maybe I'm portraying more of. It's like, uh, nothing has value, therefore everything has value, man. You know, it's like, shut up. I don't know. I hope it never gets to that. But, you know, yeah, okay, cool. Anyways, the rise of nihilism in society. What factors have contributed to the growing interest in nihilistic ideas? Uh, I actually don't know myself, to be honest. Um, I'd like to actually go maybe Google and see what it has to say. Oh man. Let's see. Oh, here we go. It lists off combining factors. Let's see what it says here. Um, Social media. Some say that social media and online misinformation contribute to nihilistic tendencies in Generation Z, the largest generation. Hi, that's me. I'm also Generation Z, but I'm like the oldest one. I'm more close to like millennials than I am uh fucking the younger Gen Z. So I guess I could see. where that could be a factor. I do think, here's the big thing. I'm going to give you another Jubby interjected story, personal life story. Make this more of a personal podcast. Growing up, I always had the deep fascination of like a digital world and of like, computers and people working together, either through machines or cybernetics or some stuff like that. I've always had that grand ideal of like, it'll be so great. Uh, I kind of semi grew up in an era like I wasn't the kid on the brick, fucking monitor programming like, code or something. I wasn't messaging on AOE or something. Um, I was kind of like the little afterwards, where it was still kind of like, what, you like getting on computers? What are you, no life, right? But it was at least more accepted somewhat. But I guess what I'm trying to say with all this, with this personal story, is that as a young boy, I always thought it would be like, social media is very connecting. I can talk to my friend at home. I don't have to go out and fucking see him, right? But a lot of people seem to have issue with it. Sorry. A lot of people seem to have issue with social media, and that it feels like it's more separating rather than connecting, right? I don't know about that. I don't fucking know. Like, if anyone who has issues with social media and you feel like it is more disconnecting than connecting, could you please tell me what you feel is so disconnecting about it and what you're doing to change that, possibly? Yeah, that's right. Probably got you with that last bit. What are you doing to change that? Are you still sitting on your computer? Are you still on your phone? Are you not trying to go out and do something about it? Maybe, I don't know, go to the park, go up to someone and talk to them and say, "Hey, how's it going? How are you doing? Man, the weather's good today, isn't it?" Right? You're probably just sitting there and you're like, "I hate the internet. I hate social media. I feel so alone." But the problem is, right? The only big difference and the reason why you probably hate it is because you're able to see what the people who are active and able to actually interact with people are doing. That's probably why you don't like it, is because you can see everyone who's having a good time or a good life. Maybe your friend in high school is having a wedding or they just had their kid, right? You're seeing it. You're just sitting there and you're watching it, right? And I'm not trying to point my big fat fucking sausage finger at you and say, do something about it, but that's probably the reason why you're unhappy and why you're feeling nihilistic, maybe, is because you just kind of see like, oh, well, what's the point? Nothing really has any value. We're all gonna die one day. And again, I'm looking at this from society's point of view. I don't believe in, like, if you're nihilistic, that this is how you are, but I think if someone says, "Oh, I'm nihilistic," and they start talking about nihilistic shit, they're probably saying stuff like that, where it's like, "Oh, nothing matters. We're all gonna die one day. We're all, you know, nothing really holds value to me, right?" And in which that case, I feel like that's more like depression or something. But um, yeah, the big thing is that I think you should just maybe like realize that without social media, you'd still just be in the same position of sitting where you are. You would just wouldn't have the window into other people's lives. You wouldn't have that irkling feeling that your life is going to waste because you see everyone else doing something with theirs, right? I'm just saying. Okay, feel free to disagree. Hit me up in the comments. Say, you know what? Fuck you, you fat piece of lard. I don't agree with you. Uh, and I personally feel attacked. Go ahead. I'd like to hear your side of it and why you feel like things aren't going well on social media. You. Uh, anyways, continuing on. They've also included the factor of modern society. Others say that nihilism is a side effect of modern society and that factors like climate change, school burnout, social pressures, and mental health issues are contributing to its rise. Now, that is more of a complicated issue. Um, let's see. Let's see if I can tackle this. Climate change. Um, again, I feel like that would be more contributing to pessimistic. Like, I guess unless you take it at a like middle kind of view of it. I don't know. Whenever I think of climate change, I become very pessimistic regarding that because I'm like, dude, it just doesn't matter. If there was gonna be any change, it would have happened already. Uh, People will continue to pollute the planet. It doesn't matter. Everyone's gonna keep doing what they do, and that's that, baby. Right? It for me, I see no good outlook upon it. Uh, and maybe that's that's the other part of the social media thing about misinformation is that uh almost constantly when regarding climate change, it feels like I'm being bombarded with a whole bunch of garbage, a whole bunch of like negativity. It's like we're all gonna die, you're dead, we're all gonna die, you're dead, right? There's never anything like positive, like 12 million solar panels have been built, uh, taking the emission levels down to this level. It's always something negative. It's always shock value. And that's what I think social media, maybe that's what it meant by social media, right? Um, Maybe that's what it meant. It's that uh, the misinformation, news, and all that, it's more of like shock value. They're there to get your viewership. And of course, if someone posted like, big meteor coming to Earth tomorrow, you'd be like, what? Oh, I'm gonna die tomorrow? What? Right? And you'd go check it out. And then it'd be like, oh, yeah, it's a meteor passing 12 million miles away from Earth. Right? um, Social or school burnout. I haven't been in school for a while, but for me, I don't understand how people can get burnt out on it. That's just a me personally kind of issue. Uh, I fucking love school, dude. Like learning things is so nice, so fun as well. As long as you don't have like external stresses, right? I don't see why you wouldn't want to learn. It can be frustrating. Don't get me wrong. You think I went into a class and I'm like, oh, I'm failing this grade. Yippee. No, of course not. I wasn't, cheering and all that. I was like, dude, this sucks. I hate this. But the ability to learn is so great. I don't know. I'll have to talk about that as well on one of these other podcasts. But I just love learning stuff. I don't know what the burnout would be. Maybe teachers being burnt out or school faculty other than teachers. I don't know. I don't really know. Uh, Social pressures. Now, I don't know what that is. What would the social pressures be? It sounds like a generalized statement. What is, you know what? I'll just Google it. I'll do what every average Joe would do. I will just Google it and I will see what the social pressures are. Let's see. Social pressure is the combined pressures that people experience in their everyday lives, such as peer pressure, academic pressures, and socioeconomic pressures. Okay, so the last one I can completely agree upon. Money is tight. Um, it's fucked. It's very, very scary and fucked. Um, wow. Okay. So I just had like a brain click moment. And I do think the last one was a big reason. You know how I said that something always comes from something, right? There is no like, this happened because why not? There's always a reason behind it. Um, I think this was my reason, or at least a big reason in me taking on nihilism as a belief. Um, Coming from someone who is kind of on the poverty line. I know I'm saying this into my fancy $35 microphone. Better watch out, baby. Um, but speaking as someone who like sews their own clothing when it starts to tear, or you know, has to be careful about how much soap he uses. Oftentimes wearing the same clothes if they haven't been worn too much because don't want to have to do laundry, right? I think that's a big reason why I got into nihilism myself. Is that for me, it is very much a. Uh, it's very tough to find a job, right? And I'm not saying like, oh, I just sit here. Where's my job? Like I've been out on the market to try and find a job, and I guess when you know, here's the thing. I'm not gonna be like, oh, finding job hard. This is why society sucks. It's not like, woe is me, right? If I had invested my time in school, uh, possibly doing internships, possibly acquiring more work through the work program at school, uh, to volunteer at places or to get a job through the school at like an office or something like that, I'm pretty sure I would have been much better in my position in life. But I didn't make those good choices, and now I suffer because of them. Right? Um, it's not entirely my fault. I'll say that much. Not entirely my fault, but I'm not gonna sit here and be like, "Oh, it's everybody else's fault that I'm a fuck up." Right? That's not fair. That's not fair at all. Um, it's good to accept that some of the choices you made in life or you are continuing to make in life is what's keeping you down. You have to change if you want to see change, right? Can't sit there and say, "Oh, woe is me. Oh, my life is horrible," if you're not doing something to change it. Because at that point, you may as well just be like a fucking barnacle with lips on it, okay? You're just sitting there and you're not doing nothing, and you're just screaming out. You're like, "Oh, woe is me, woe is me," right? There are many things in the world that are bullshit, right? I don't disagree with that. Um, I think the job market is very tough to get into. There are literally no entry level positions. When they say entry level position for a job, they don't mean for the general public. They mean for the people that specialized into that particular study or work, right? Um, and I know maybe someone's sitting there and they're like, "Oh, you're fucking stupid. You thought entry level meant everybody? No, it meant the entry level for people who were into that. You idiot!" Right? But as a common man myself, when I hear entry position, it means entry position, right? It's not entry specialist position. Uh, you know, it's or it's sorry. It is that. It's entry specialist position. It's not entry to the specialist position. You know, I don't know. Either one of those. But what I'm trying to say is that it's bullshit. Um, People are still in the belief that if they continue to work hard and come in every day and to never skip out on a day of work, they will make it big. And that's a big fucking fat lie. The only people that make it big are the people who take risks, or, of course, as I said before, kind of scoped into what they were doing. They earned a degree, a master's, or something like that. Um, they took the risk of the debt in order to advance themselves in society or in the job place. Um, yeah. So, sorry, I kind of had this realization. I'm like, wait a minute, this is a nihilistic podcast, is it not? I'm supposed to be talking about that. But I suppose I wanted to go ahead and give my position of like um why that may have been a big contributor to me. Is that for me it always seems like there's not really anything you can do. You know, as I think about it more, I start to realize, oh wait, there were some things I could do. But in the current position, if I tried to go get a job, unless it was through a what we like to call a work source, which is basically people who find jobs for you and vouch for you to a company, I would be absolutely fucked. And I don't mean that in like a hyper realistic like I would be fucked. There's no way I could get any job. Again, I could probably get a job, but say I wanted to go into receptionist kind of job position, it probably would not happen due to the few years that I have not worked, due to my education simply being high school diploma plus a little bit of college into social science, or not social science, Jesus, into what is it? Computer science and social science. I don't know. I don't know what the fucking term is for wanting to be a fucking uh, what is it? What is it? I'm trying to think of it. Jesus, man, I look like such a fool right now. Is it a therapist? Yeah, I guess it must be a counselor. Jesus, that's what it was. Oh my god, I look like an idiot. Um. Anyways, moving on. Moving on. All right. And then the final factor that it listed for people becoming more nihilistic in society is inequality. Some say that the view that life is meaningless is gaining traction in the face of rising inequality and the climate crisis. Okay, well, you just kind of talked about the previous shit, you know? Some say that nihilism can have a pervasive impact on culture and values and can lead to feelings of gloom, anxiety, anger, and terror. However, others say that nihilism can also be a catalyst for positive action, that it can be free. It can free people to define themselves however they please. For example, someone who holds nihilistic beliefs about gender may decide that there is no inherent meaning to the concept and therefore be free to define themselves as transgender or non-binary. See, I never really saw it from that perspective. And that kind of makes me a little mad. Not so much for what it represents of like that, but more of like uh, nihilism at that point is like being used as a tool, you know? That's the tough thing, isn't it? Um, I guess I should say right now that as a nihilist, or someone who believes in that, maybe I'm not even a nihilist anymore, because I read that whole absurdist thing and that kind of sounds more up my valley, up my lane, or something like that. But I don't agree with that. I don't know. I'm a nihilist that doesn't want to tear down everything. I guess because I also, when I was reading the whole nihilist versus absurdist thing, it was saying something along the lines of when nihilists, they're like, they believe that some things, because they lack any amount of value, that they need to be destroyed or something like that. I don't agree with that at all. I think there are a lot of things in society right now that are good as is, you know? Like, I personally feel very solid as a male, right? I'm just saying. I guess there are some people that don't feel like that. Um, I don't really agree with them per se. Uh, I think just because you do not feel comfortable in your body doesn't mean that you are something else. You know, I don't feel comfortable being fat. That does not make me skinny. um, I guess that's where the man, I gotta go look at the thing and see what it was. What was it called again? That's where epicet or Phoebus and Cripes epistemic nihilism might be coming into, which is that any hard facts can't even be true. And I disagree with that. And that's probably where other people are gaining knowledge or what they see as knowledge and what they see as truth. They say, well, since nothing can be true, um, I hold no value for any truth or any knowledge. It's unobtainable. Therefore, I can make it myself. Maybe that's where that's happening. And if that's the case, I don't agree with that. Um, it's more of like, I guess for some people, nihilism is tearing down all the walls. It's like everything is nothing, right? Whereas for me, it's like, it's more of a contained, like, me tearing down the walls. It's kind of like, you know, it's kind of like if people burn down a city versus me, I'm in like what is it? I'm in like one of those rooms where you can smash all the objects in, but you're still in the room. You know what I mean? Like I am tearing down the moral values and all that shit and the belief. Maybe that's what I am. Morally nihilistic. You know? Traditional nihilistic as well. I don't know. But I like the more self-contained nihilism, which is that you can say fuck off to a lot of things, but uh, not the whole system as is. No, that's what we base our whole lives upon. Um, Without that, what are you? And I guess their response is, "I am what I make my life out of, bitch." You know, and then I'm like, "Oh shit, you got me." uh, but yeah, alrighty. Um, all right, this is the last one, everybody. This is it. This is it. Criticisms of nihilism. What are the main objections to nihilism and how do nihilists respond to them? Let me go ahead and Google criticisms of nihilism. All right, everybody. Dude, I see someone said paradox, and I'm like, dude, here we fucking go. So this is gonna be the me defending nihilism, I suppose, even though I'm not even sure I believe in it too much myself anymore. At least if it's called nihilism. Um, and it's the way I think it is, which I don't know if it is. All right, here we go. We have one, two, three, four, five different uh criticisms of nihilism. And I'm going to either defend them, agree with them, or something in between. Metaphysical debate. Some argue that nihilism is an unacceptable alternative to traditional legal theory and way of life. They say that if we engage in metaphysical debate with nihilists, we should reject nihilism because it becomes absurd and unacceptable based on their own pragmatic criteria. Now, what do you mean by metaphysical debate? What the fuck do you mean? Metaphysical debates are discussions that question the nature of reality, from the existence of ants to the purpose of the universe. They are a bridge between philosophy and science, using both disciplines to answer their question. Some examples of the metaphysical issues include abstract entities. Do abstract entities like numbers, propositions, and universals uh, exist? Dreams. Are dreams metaphysical? Are they generated by a level of consciousness beyond the physical? Time. Can the knowledge of an eternal God be independent of the free choices humans make in time? What the fuck did I just stumble upon? Some say that metaphysical debates can be nonverbal, where the parties agree on the fact but disagree on the meaning of their words. For example, if one person says D is a martini and another person says D is not a martini, they might agree that D is made of vodka and green apple liquor in a glass, but disagree on the truth value of D as a martini because they have different meanings for the words. Okay, that is like jumping into the like deepest. Like, okay, listen. I don't know if anyone else is getting this. For me, this is like you guys tuning into this video. You're like, what the fuck does any of this mean? Why do I care? um. So, saying what about what? Metaphysical debate. Some argue that nihilism is an unacceptable alternative to traditional legal theory and way of life. What the fuck is traditional legal theory? Let me go see what this is. Traditional legal theory can refer to a number of legal systems and theories, including traditional law, a legal system that comes from long-standing customs and practices in local communities and constantly changing even though it may seem unchanged. Legal model, classic view of law, common law theory. Okay, I think I'm starting on. Yeah, unacceptable alternative to traditional legal theory and way of life. They say that if we engage in metaphysical debate with nihilists, we should reject nihilism because it becomes absurd and unacceptable based on their own pragmatic criteria. So, I'm stupid. I don't know what most of this. It kind of sounds like they're like, you get too nitty gritty with the details, and what's the fucking point when we get to that? When you're starting to argue if an ant can feel ice touch its testicles, what the fuck are we doing with our life? I suppose it's also like, dude, what? I thought you didn't care about nothing. Well, like, why does this matter to you if nothing matters, right? Dude, what the fuck am I supposed to do? Uh, Nihilism is an unacceptable alternative to traditional legal theory. I don't know. I can agree with them with that. Like, there are some rules in the world that I believe are truth and hard truth, and that's it. You know, like, um, again, with my theory of like, if you push an apple off a table and it falls, that's gravity, baby. Um, Nothing really is gonna change that. You know. I don't know what it means exactly when it's like, um, I don't agree with that word, you know. That's weird. The metaphysical stuff? Like, what the fuck does that even mean? Um, like, when it was telling me that example of D is a martini, and it's like, okay, well, they both can agree that this is the process or this is what it's made out of, but they don't agree the truth of that. What does that even mean? For like the nihilist or anything like that. Like what do you mean by that? Um that doesn't sound logical. Like that's like if you said like I don't know. It's like if I did this, right? I just drink water from the bottle, right? And we both can agree I just drank water from the bottle. And then I was like, I know that I just drank water through a tube out through the spout of that bottle by using my lips to suck it into my stomach, um, or my mouth, and then to my throat, and then to my stomach. But that's not drinking. That's not drinking water. Like, I don't know. If you have any theories about what this is talking about, then feel free to let me know. Paradox. Critics of metaphysical nihilism point to the oh, no, I don't want metaphysical. Against metaphysical, what do you mean? Critics, here, we'll go with this, because that was all the AI. Okay, the AI said that. Let's see. What are the flaws of nihilism? What are the problems with nihilism? What is the refutation? Whatever. Paradox of nihilism. Hold up. This made me white. Metaphysical nihilism. What the fuck is that? Paradox of nihilism. The paradox of nihilism is a family of paradoxes regarding the philosophical implications of nihilism, particularly situations contesting nihilist perspectives on the nature and extent subjectively within a nihilist framework. There are a number of variations of this paradox. Overview. While there are several derivative examples of the paradox of nihilism, they generally fall on the lines that nihilism itself has drawn to demarcate different sections of the philosophy. The two basic paradoxes are reflective of the philosophies of nihilism that created them: metaphysical nihilism and existential nihilism. Both paradoxes originate from the same conceptual difficulty of whether, as Paul Hegarty writes in his study of noise music, the absence of meaning seems to be some sort of meaning. And that's where we get into the juicy bits. So we're gonna go with metaphysical nihilism real quick. Metaphysical nihilism is based around skepticism that concrete objects and the self which perceives them actually exist as concrete objects rather than an abstract objects. It is not a far stretch in the framework of this theory to assume that these objects do not exist at all. The philosophy can most succinctly be summed up using the model proposed by British philosopher Thomas Baldwin in his 1996 paper on the subject, which is referred to as a subtraction theory. It holds that for a possible world with finite objects, any one or more of those objects may not have existed, and their non-existence does not mean that something equivalent exists in their place. Therefore, it is entirely possible that a world with no objects exists. What the fuck are you talking about? Second paragraph, here we go. The paradox arises from the logical assertion that if no concrete or abstract object exists, even the self, then that very concept itself would be untrue because it itself exists. Critics often point to the ambiguity of Baldwin's premises as proof both of the paradox of the flaws within the metaphysical nihilism itself. The main point made argues that a world is itself a concrete object. Whether it exists or does not exist is irrelevant because in both instances it would disprove subtraction theory. In the case of its existence, subtraction theory fails because there is still a concrete object. The world does not exist. Subtraction theory fails because the truth of the world is revealed by subtraction theory, which itself exists, and therefore negates Baldwin's conclusion that a world with no objects can exist. Baldwin, what the fuck are you doing with your life, dude? Back in 1996, what the fuck you talking about? Metaphysical nihilism? Shut the fuck up, dude. You're stupid. And it's about to get into existential nihilism. And I'm pretty sure I already expressed how, like, existential nihilism is like, what I don't know about this, but I can firmly say that metaphysical nihilism doesn't really sound like it provides anything. Um, you ever grow up, right? And someone says something, and to you it just sounds so stupid. Like I'm trying to think of an example to me. Um, what is something that is so stupid that I feel like how are people still able to get away with saying shit like this and not being like beaten to a fucking pulp? And I'm not saying like someone saying a racial slur or some shit like that. I'm saying like someone saying something absolutely so stupid that it's like, dude, what do you mean? That just doesn't work or something. I'm trying to think of one, but flipping my mind. Um, that's what this sounds like though. It's like this has add nothing to my. This is like in a few moments, I'll probably forget about this because it's such a nothingness, right? Um, because I agree with those people. What the fuck are you talking about, dude? If like, I guess a big paradox. Maybe this is where existential will probably be going. Is that um, if I believe everything has no value, then how can I believe my belief has any value to me? How can everything not have value if I believe in something, therefore it must have value? Boom, paradox, right? Um, but that's why, from my nihilistic point of view, in order for it to reach a logical loop, it is that everything doesn't have value, but you assign value to it yourself. I don't know if that makes any sense. Maybe I shouldn't do podcast episodes on things that I like because now I'm starting to doubt even if I like nihilism. The further I think on it, I'm like, what the fuck does this even mean, dude? Shut the fuck up. But I do think morally, I still do stand with nihilism that you should be unshackled, but not to the point where you are uncontrolled. Um, yeah. I don't know what the fuck that is with the whole subtraction theory. You are literally defeating your own purpose. If if you removed everything from a world, um, something, nothing would exist. You have nothing. What? Like again, this proves nothing. It's just like, what if I took away something and then I took away another thing and everything just didn't exist? And could like, what was the whole point of it, huh? Like, dude, what? Okay, stupid. Anyways, on to the next one. Existential nihilism. Existential nihilism is the philosophical theory that life has no inherent meaning whatsoever, that humanity, both in an individual sense and in a collective sense, has no purpose. That is to say, while objects have the capacity for purpose or meaning, there is no universal truth and guides this individual purpose. Thus, without a universal purpose, all meaning that objects could have does not exist, and the idea of any purpose or meaning attributed to something is untrue. If this is taken as a given, then existential nihilism holds that humans are compelled to make up meaning for themselves and others in an absence of a universal unilateral meaning in order to spare themselves from the negativity surrounding the inevitability of death. Deeply believing in that so far. Let's continue though and see if my opinion changes. Existential nihilism explores both the nature of this invention and the effectiveness of creating meaning for oneself and others, as well as whether the latter is even possible. It has received the most attention out of all forms of nihilism in both literary and popular media. So, what was the paradox there? Maybe I read it. Thus, without a universal purpose, all meaning that objects could have does not exist, and the idea of any purpose or meaning attributed to something is untrue. If this is taken as a given, then existential nihilism holds that humans are compelled to make up meaning. I mean, for me, that I don't really see the paradox. Maybe it's that that is to say, while objects have the capacity for purpose or meaning, there is no universal truth that guides this individual purpose. That much is true, right? Thus, without a universal purpose, all meaning that objects could have does not exist, and the idea of any purpose or meaning attributed to something is untrue. So is it kind of like, you thought that was true? You thought, oh, you think this holds any value? Guess what? It probably doesn't, unless you give value. Therefore, I guess it can't be unvalued. I don't know. I don't understand that paradox. That paradox is just kind of bullshit, to be honest. It's just, I don't know. That's how I see it. It's just everything does not hold really any value unless you give it value, right? Not just you, but anybody. How much do you value that person and their opinion? Then that object that they care about, maybe you'll care about it more. All right, we're in the last lap of this. Oh man, hold up. Criticisms of nihilism. Yeah, here we go. Hey, assholes, scratch them back. Okay. Let's see what else we got. Let's see. Self-refuting. Some say that the idea of nihilism, or the ideology of nothing, is nonsensical. They argue that believing in nothing is self-refuting because believing in something suggests that there is something to believe in. You believe in yourself. There you go. Bada bing. There's your thing. Hey, hello. Excuse me. Hey. Fingers. Cat is scratching up against the brown bag. Come here, cat. There. Yeah. You give things value via yourself. Maybe that's more of like, that's someone coming in with like a sewing needle or something, and you're like, let me stitch this in at the very end. Give meaning to things via your own perspective. But I don't know. Just kind of seems like shit, maybe? I don't know. I mean, that's how I see it, is that you just give value to things that you want. So it's kind of true that it's like, it's the ideology of nothing, because you're like, nothing has any value. But it's how much an individual gives value to it. It's how much they see it. I guess it's kind of egotistical as well. It's like, if I don't really believe in it, then what's it matter? It's kind of like if I'm like, I don't have cancer. Why should I give a flying fuck about it? It all doesn't mean nothing anyways. And it's kind of fucked because there's a tiny part of me that's like believing in that. It's like, you know what? You're kind of right. Why should you care? Now if a friend or family member has cancer, then you're like, shit, dude, this is bad. What the fuck? I hate this. Right? Suddenly its value goes up in your mind because you're like, what the fuck? But moving on, I suppose. Let's see. They also list paradox, which we just did those, but I want to see what they listed. Nihilism can lead to a paradox, which is the logical assertion that if no concrete or abstract objects exist, then the concept of existence itself would be untrue because it exists. Critics often point to the ambiguity of Baldwin's. Yeah, we already talked about Baldwin. Shut the fuck up, Baldwin. Why are you ruining the good name, sir? Motivation for depression and suicide. Oh, God. The feeling that life and the universe have no meaning or purpose, which can motivate nihilism, can also motivate depression and suicide. So that is kind of true. That is very true. It is a double-edged sword. Um, you know, it's very much a, well, you know, life has no purpose. Some people stop at that, but then the people who are actually good with life and are positive and happy and want to keep it moving, they put that to the side and then they add to the end of it. But I give it purpose. I give it meaning. There you go. That's all you gotta do. Um, inadequate answers. Some say that nihilism is inadequate because it's a straightforward answer to life's big questions. They argue that human life is imbued with meaning. That the opposition argues that, or that nihilistic people argue that. I will agree with them. Like, I agree with them, but I still have my own belief in it. That they're not wrong. Like, nihilistic point of view, it's like, oh, it just doesn't matter. That's like such a big cop out. Imagine I fucking talked this whole 2 hours with you about this topic and you said something like, oh, it all just doesn't matter. Why do you even talk about that? It doesn't matter. Right? I'd be like, dude, what the fuck? I was just theorizing with you. What the hell? For 2 hours straight. But they're not wrong. It's like, what's your how do you feel about this? How do you feel about um how do you feel about death? Oh, it doesn't matter. Nothing matters, you know? Everything is how I wish to see it. Whatever. You know? It's like, hello? Um what what? So I can see that. Um Again, I'm starting to doubt if I am a nihilist. Like, it sounds like a nihilist will always bring up how everything doesn't matter and that's it, you know? Whereas I'm like, I rarely would bring up that I'm a nihilist unless it comes to like very big moral questions or something around that. Like, if it came to life or death, it's like, you know, we're all gonna die one day, so it doesn't really matter too much. You know, it's not me saying that in a negative light. It's supposed to be positive. It's supposed to be like, well, you know, we're all gonna die, so you may as well live life to how you want to. You know, as long as you're living life to how you see it, you should be happy. You know, and if not, then you should be sad. I guess it's because it's concrete. You know, it's concrete and like, oh, we're all gonna die. You know, there's no other belief to it other than that. You know, at least for me. Let's see. Critics argue this diminishes the human capacity for action and engagement with the world, denies the meaning we create. Even without external meaning, humans create their own significance through their relationships, experiences, and choices. Baby, that's it. That's the honey pot right there, dude. Nihilism is seen as overlooking this ability to forge meaning in life. No, 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 no. That's what I agree with, though. That's what I agree with. Is that not what I am? I don't know. I've always heard like that's what nihilism is. Well, I guess not in like the social aspect. It's very much like what they said that, you know, everything's like, oh, I don't care about anything. Oh, whatever. I'm like that. It's like a mix. Like, nothing really does matter, but you make meaning yourself, and everything it said was very true, like to the T. Um, just because there's no God out there, just because there is no higher power, there's no aliens, no evolution. No, I'm not saying evolution isn't exist. I'm saying like there's no evolved species. There we go. There's no predecessor. There's nothing to guide you forward. Doesn't mean that you are meaningless, that you have no purpose in this world. It is just to say that you are free. You are able to make your own purpose in this world. Um, that's how I see it, at least. Um, Kind of makes me a little bit sad that that's not how some other people see it, but it's whatever, I guess. Um, but it's you really do just make your own meaning through life, through your own connections, your experiences, and your choices, as it said. But yeah, um, I guess that's it for all the questions when it comes to nihilism. I like it, though it does make me think maybe that's not what I am. Um, what was it? Absurdism? Maybe that's what I am or something, but I don't believe in the rebel against uh you know the I don't know. I guess I could see it as like an anime moment. Oh no, I have this thought process in my brain where like I think of really cool scenes in my brain that would be really cool in like a cartoon or television or an anime, right? And it's like I'm just thinking of I don't know, maybe some general or something like that that's really loved by the army or crew that he works with has just gone down. He's like, oh, he's doing his last speech as he coughs on his own blood or shit like that. And he's like, nothing matters, right? And all of his men are like becoming depressed. They're like, oh my god, we're gonna lose, right? But then he fucking stands up. He's all wibbly, shakety, and all that shit. And he's like, but you can make meaning, right? Like they're like, oh man, they go crazy. And in fact, I'm just getting like chills up my spine because of that. I think of these like really impactful scenes, just in my head, like just these random scenes that I can see that happening in. Um, for me, it's encouraging. Like I don't know, maybe that'd be like a good rebel kind of situation with it. Um, yeah, this has definitely given me something to think about. Whether I want to label myself as a nihilist or not. Um, though I don't know. Being called an absurdist doesn't sound good either. I've heard quite a few like, you're being absurd, right? It's like, that's not good. That's not good either. But I don't know. Hopefully, I was at least able to share some of my belief in the world with the rest of you. It's not really a religious belief. Not even die hard, right? I'm sure I've contradicted myself with that many a times, you know, like you would if you were a nihilist, right? Um, Hello, cat. Hello, Momo. He says, hi. I'm here to just take a little look-see and sniff around for something. But, yeah, I don't know. Why don't you let me know what you think? What's your whole ideas about this? No meaning to life, therefore you make your own thing like that. But yeah, it was good to do this. I'm glad I decided to do another Within the Flesh. Uh, Makes me happy. Hopefully you guys enjoyed watching. Sorry this one was a long one, but I feel like it was over something I enjoyed. Therefore, I was able to talk more about it. Hopefully, I'll be able to do more of these. Maybe it still won't be every week or even bi weekly. Maybe it'll be sporadic. So, I love you all. I hope you all have a good rest of your day. Think about nihilism. You know, maybe think, do I even give a flying fuck about this, or am I about to get on Minecraft or play Sims 4 or some shit like that? Okay. I love you all. Toodaloo and boo bye.